Hello there, it's a wonderful day and I am happy to meet you once again in this lecture series. Today we will be discussing regarding the general requirements of concrete structures for storage of liquid. This will be as per IS 3370, the guidelines which are given by the Indian standard in the part 1. Design is a part where we should understand the construction, manufacturing of concrete, the mixed design process, everything merges here in the design. While designing the complete detail of construction environment, that is exposure condition, and where the structure is to be built and what environment it is supposed to work, we should have a complete understand in order to design. For that we need a guideline. Guideline is, if you are climbing a staircase, you need a handrail. The handrail will not help you to climb the stair, but it supports you and it guides you to your destination. Like that, guidelines are essential for any design. So with that introduction, let us discuss common methods of design and construction of liquid structures. The concrete used in liquid retaining structure should have low permeability. This is an important point called low permeability. The permeability is the ability to pass the water inside the structure, and if required you can add fly ash into the mixed design of concrete. It will produce less permeable structure. Next, the main factor influencing the durability are leaching and chemical attack. The chemical attack might be from external wall of the water tank or from the internal liquid which is stored. In some liquid storage structure, the chemical which you are storing in the water will deplete the structural character of the water tank. You should carefully know the characteristics of the liquid which is stored in order to safeguard the structure, and the structure should not erode, it should not get abrasion and frost damage. These are the other parts which have to be taken care. And also, if the water is leaching into the water tank wall or from the base, what will happen? The steel which is embedded into the concrete will be corroded, and corrosion progresses and dampness will be visible. Okay, for that the other two codes are also considered. If you are designing a reinforced cement concrete structure, then you should follow IS 456 and the guideline which is given in IS 456 in the updated revision should be followed. If you are designing a water tank by using pre-stressed concrete, then you should follow 1343 code of practice for pre-stressed concrete in order to proceed the design. And for a good design and construction of structure, we should use the denser concrete. If you increase the density of the concrete, the structure will perform well. Adequate concrete cover should be provided here as per IS 456, and good detail practice. Control of cracking is essential. See, if you are constructing a roof, after the construction you can see visible hairline cracks in the roof. Acceptable in case of roof where the activity of water which is lesser in contact when compared to the water retaining structure. Here these hairline cracks in water tank also affects the durability. The RCC structure will get some cracks due to the temperature and environmental change, but here in case of water storage structure, these cracks has to be carefully dealt here in order to have a good performance and good quality assurance measures in line with IS 456 and good construction practice, particularly in relation to the construction joint, should be ensured. Here the water tank will be constructed either by hinged joint for the base and the wall, or you can provide partially hinged, or while design you can provide fixed joint between the wall and the floor or the roof and the wall. This is completely decided by the design engineer. So according to the environment and suitability, as a designer you should provide a judicious decision. Okay. The recommendations, however, may generally be applicable to the storage at normal temperature of aqueous liquid. Here this code book is mainly for aqueous liquids and solutions which have no adverse action on concrete and steel. Mainly water, for storage of water, this code book is used, and this code book is not covered for retaining petrol tank, diesel tank, oil tanks, dams. These part have different code book. You should follow those code book in order to design pipes, pipeline, lined structures and dam proofing of basement. For a dam we have a particular Indian standard code book and other standard codes, and pipe and pipelines similarly. All the other liquids have their guideline which is different from retaining the water tank. And for overhead water tank, that is RCC stacking for overhead water tank, a specific code which is given, that is IS 11682 should be followed. And regarding the aggregate, there are new innovative materials which are used for aggregates for reducing the structural self weight. Porous aggregates are used in some concrete. You should note that this kind of porous aggregate should not be used. This affects the permeability character of a structure and it allows the water inside. Here, while designing the water tank, in no circumstance the use of porous aggregate such as slag, crushed overburnt bricks or tile, bloated clay aggregates and sintered fly ash aggregates. These aggregates have high porosity and it allows the water inside, particularly in the face of the wall. These aggregates should be avoided for design and construction. Next thing is joining. While joining, what are the place you will be finding a joints? In water tank you will be joining the base slab with the walls, and the joint between base and the walls will be covered with joining materials, and joining of roof and wall, and in between that if you are having a larger structure you will be having a construction joint. It may be expansive joint or contraction or movable joint. You will be having this joining material in order to seal the liquids inside the water tank. Generally polyurethane and silicone based sealants. Here you can see that in this picture you can see silicone based sealants might be used for satisfactory performance, and also for exposure condition. The liquid shall be considered as subjected to severe condition as per IS 456. So always when you are designing the water tank you should follow 3370. This code also says that it should be parallelly used along with the IS 456. So in IS 456, table 3 gives the environmental exposure condition. Under what environmental condition a structure is built? So your structure is built under a very fine environment which has less alternate weather condition or aggressive conditions, and also for an extreme environment the structure might be built under a tidal zone where continuous salt water is striking on the structure and members in direct contact with the soil aggressive chemicals, and the structure which is constructed which is surrounded by the aggressive chemicals also a environment. See, like that, from mild to extreme you are having a exposure condition for the structure. So while designing the water tank you should at least consider from the severe environment. Water tank should not be assumed as moderate and mild. From severe you can assume very severe or extreme condition as per the guideline of IS 456. And while assuming the grade of the concrete along with this guideline, see in table 1 in IS 456 it is given as for reinforced concrete minimum cement content should be 320 kg per meter cube, and in nowhere while designing the water tank the cement content should not exceed 400 kilogram per meter cube. Why? Because this causes dry shrinkage. If you increase the cement content there will be high heat of hydration, so due to high heat hydration you will be having a dry shrinkage during the initial stages of the hydration part. So in order to reduce that, the cement content in the concrete should not exceed 400 kg per meter cube. Additionally, you can use fly ash or GGBS in order to compensate the binding property, and minimum grade of concrete here is given as M30 in IS 456. And also if you reduce the cement content less than 400, it helps in reducing the early thermal cracking and alkali silica reactions also. Then design consideration. While starting for your design, the allowance should be made for the effects of adverse soil pressure on the walls. See, this is a underground water tank. You can see that the soil is surrounded in all four sides. If there is any load which is acting in the sides of the soil, due to the surcharge of this load, this wall also affected due to the load which is present in the adjacent towards the soil. So you should take care of this surcharge load, and if there is any compaction which is done around the distance which the soil is affected, which will adversely affect the wall of the water tank. While designing you should consider this point. While considering the loads which are acting in the water tank, see, in some cases you will be having a full level of water in the water tank. In that case what will happen, there will be a moment due to the water to this cantilever wall which will be bending the structure outward. So what will happen, the outward wall will be having a compression and the inward wall will be having a tension. Also there is a force which is acting in the outer wall which is the soil load. In case of underground water tank there will be a load due to the soil which makes the inner wall the compression and the outer wall tension. See, if there is a nil level of water, what will happen, only force due to the soil will be acting in the wall, and when you pump the water inside the water tank you will be having both the forces. So you are having the alternate empty and full condition load in this water tank. You should consider this while designing. And also The stability consideration against the uplift using a factor of safety of 1.2 should be used here. When designing both the internal and external faces of the wall and floor as water retaining faces, where the walls and floors of the liquid retaining structure are submerged in water or bearing soil. See, this water tank is being constructed with the soil which is surrounded. This external soil might have some water pressure inside it. During a heavy rainfall or a flood, there will be a water inside the soil, and this water adds some pressure in addition to the soil pressure into this wall. This is what I currently discussed. So due to the sudden change in groundwater table, it might be a rainfall, or due to water table change, the water may rise upward in some area according to the environment. In some area there might be a water table which is below 2 meter, the natural level. In those cases, you should consider the groundwater level and the pressure which is caused for the water tank. And regarding the stability requirement, here you can see an example. If you are having a water tank which is in sloped ground, in hill areas, you should check the water tank against sliding and overturning as per IS 456. In flat leveled water tank, it is not mandatory. And injurious soils, if the soil around the water tank is being exposed to sulfur attack, a coating of bituminous material which is required in order to protect from the external aggressive environment. So the water inside the tank should not be affected due to the adverse chemical which is surrounded around the water tank. And causes and control of crack. It is well known that a concrete during hydration process, for better understanding of hydration, I have made a separate lecture for heat of hydration. You can check that. Due to the heat of hydration, definitely there will be expansion in the structure. So due to the expansion of the concrete, what happens? The cracks in the concrete is created. So let us discuss now the causes of the crack. The crack in water tank might be due to direct or flexural tension in the concrete. This is mainly due to external load, that is the load due to the water and the wind force, the load due to the roof which will be transferring into the wall. So these are the external loads. So due to this load, there might be cracks in water tank. And the next condition is due to temperature gradients. So rising and lowering of temperature, there might be expansion and contraction of a material. So due to that, cracks might occur. And next thing is from containment liquids at temperature above ambient may cause the cracking in the concrete. So the external temperature around the water tank might be 30 degree. The water which you are storing inside the water tank might be 20 degree. So due to the temperature change which is inside and outside the water tank, there might be a temperature difference. So due to this difference, there might be a cause of the crack. Also, the structure which is empty, the water tank which is empty and water tank with full condition, this creates the possibility of cracking in the structure. So if a water tank is empty and the temperature is also more than 30 or 35 degree, so due to the external temperature, what happens? The structure shrinks. So due to that, shrinkage cracks might occur. So these are the causes of the crack. So how to control these cracks in a water tank? So what we can do is, if you add more water in a concrete, what happens? The durability of a concrete gets reduced. So in order to maintain the minimum water level for durability, what we can use is plasticizing admixture. Instead of increasing the water, you can use admixture, and to reduce cracks, what you can do is you can limit the cement content and large practical coarse aggregate. If you are using 20 mm aggregates, if you compare 20 mm and 10 mm aggregates, if you use 20 mm aggregates, there is a possibility of reduced cracks in the structure. While if you build a water tank purely by 10 mm sized aggregate, you will be having a higher possibility of cracks. During initial stage of a water tank, while fabricating a concrete, and in those 28 days, so during this stage, if there is a high wind or higher temperature and low humidity, what happens? The water in the concrete gets evaporated. So during this initial stages, what you can do is you can cover the concrete surface using polythene or tarpaulin sheets. In water retaining structure, the curing is essential for 14 days as per the guideline. Also, you can control the crack by making the tank in a wet condition. You have to keep the water tank at least a minimum of water, that is D by 4. If the overall depth of the water tank is D, at least D by 4 depth of the water should be kept for initial days in order to reduce the cracking of the structure. There is a coefficient of thermal expansion which is given in IS 456. You can consider that coefficient of expansion and then proceed the design. See, this kind of a condition will generally arise in a tropical side. If you are building water tank majorly in India, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, you can see a high temperature during summer time. Due to this, expansion might occur. So you can consider the temperature changes and the thermal coefficient as per the guideline you can consider during the design. And while providing the reinforced bars, particularly in water retaining tank, a correct placement of reinforcement bar, use of deformed bars, which is very useful to reduce the cracks, and bars closely spaced of use of smaller sized bar. Here, if possible, you can use the smallest size which you can assume. What happens? The smaller dia bar reduces the size of the cracking. And also, this is another case which will help the reduction of crack. If you are first time filling the water tank after construction, what you can do is the rate of filling shall not be more than 1 meter per 24 hours. Temperature and moisture crack can be controlled by reinforcement together with the provision of movement joints. And okay, right now we have discussed the major consideration while designing. So now let us discuss the joints. So what are the joints in a water tank? There are three types of joint, that is contraction joint, expansion joint and sliding joint between the members. So let us assume this as a wall. there is a discontinuity of reinforcement in this member, and this discontinuity is consciously provided eliminate the contraction forces. See, there is a water bar which is provided, so you can see a 3D image of this water bar. So in one side you will be having the water storage and other side you will be having the external phase. This water bar will not allow the water outside the structure. This will be generally a PVC material or non-porous material which is provided in between the inner side and outer side of the wall. Practically you can see at the inner side you can provide a joint sealing compound in order to arrest the water. So other case is partial contract joint. So this is a complete contract joint, and if you need a partial contraction joint, if you are designing a partial contraction joint, then during construction what you have to do is the reinforcement are continuous like this. The reinforcement are continuous and the concrete has discontinuity. The discontinuity in concrete but no initial gap and continuity of steel. So this is known as partial contraction joint. Here what you have to do is you have to do a strip painting above the joint sealing compound. This will help in structural contraction. So all the structure which is built will be subjected to environmental expansion and contraction. So the sliding will be due to hoop stress due to the water. And you can see here the reinforcement, what they have done is it is being anchored, both the sides the reinforcement are anchored and the water bar which is provided in between this and the contraction joint which is provided. This structurally help during the expansion and contraction. This joint helps the structure to reduce the cracking. And next, expansion joint, a filler material. Example, a thermocol is a good expansion filling material. Bituminous material are also used here along with the water bar. Practically you can see a expansion joint between two members. A material is provided in order to overcome the expansion of the structure. Next, let us look into the sliding joint. This is a base slab of the water tank and this is the wall. While connecting these two members, if a designer provides a hinged joint, he might design a partially hinged joint or a fixed between two members. So for this three condition, there might be three construction practices should be used, three detailing practices should be used. So in order to, if a designer is providing a hinged joint, what will happen? These two materials will not be connected and these two materials will be separately casted, and the joint will be filled by using the joint sealing compound, and there will be a strip painting in order to retain the water. You can see an example of sliding joint. Here this is a prefabricated water tank. You can see the base slab. Above the base slab, the wall is being connected by using the sliding joint. This is a material which allows the water tank to slide. This water tank is being connected by a hinged joint between the base slab and the wall. And construction joint. This is not only in water tank, in construction of road also, you can see the joint. If you are providing a single member throughout the highway, what will happen? Due to the continuity of the structure, the material length will get increased. So due to this length, what will happen? If you multiply the length into thermal coefficient, there will be a thermal expansion. So the structure will suffer due to the thermal stress, and the effect will be thermal cracking. For that, the member is being separated. In water tank also, similar kind of separation is being followed in order to overcome the temperature cracks. The joint in the concrete introduced for convenience in construction. The position of construction joint should be specified by the designer. So while designing, we should specify the place of the construction joint. So this is a member which is casted. This might be a base slab, and this might be a continuous slab, and to connect this two member, there will be a initial gap while construction. After that, it will be filled by the concrete. Filling that gap, you can have a strip painting above the joint area. And finally, there is a table in 3370. You can see these are the design option for control of thermal contraction and restrained shrinkage. So the code gives three kind of support. What are they? The type of construction and method of control. So this is type of construction in the sense, while designing, if you are providing a fixed joint between the slab and wall or wall and roof. If you are providing a fixed joint, then you can take the first row. If you are providing partially hinged, you can go for the second row, and if you are providing a hinged joint of water tank, you can go for the third case. So if you are providing a fixed structure between the wall and the slab, what you can do is you can use purely the reinforcement in order to control the thermal cracking and shrinkage. So the reinforcement is going to take care of the thermal force and the shrinkage due to the concrete. So here what we can do is, they have given a comment, the steel ratio has to be used as per the guideline, and use of small sized bar at closer spacing to avoid the high steel ratio well in excess of rho max. If you are providing a high percentage of steel here, what you can do is you can reduce the dia of bar and reduce the size of spacing, but there should be a minimum spacing direction. For fixed and partially hinged, you can use the same condition, and for the hinged joint, you can use 2/3 of the maximum consideration of the steel ratio. So this we will discuss in future. So by this I wind up this lecture. You will be getting some knowledge of what is a water retaining tank. So for designing a water retaining tank, what is the forces which is acting, and what are the places where you can have failure. The water tank might failure due to crack or thermal expansion, and what are the joints you can use in the structure, and in what type of joint, what is the advantage and disadvantage, and what are the materials you can use for a water tank. Finally, I have compressed the guideline which is given in IS 3370 part 1. You can in detail get clarification from the code book. By this, I hope that you would have got some knowledge regarding the design aspect of water retaining structure. Happy learning. See you again. Thank you.